You know it's super fly when Day Bar is opened. Hip-hop review, news, plus breaking new artists, pop culture, current events with an urban view of it. This is all things hip-hop, delivered raw, unpolitically correct, the fans' perspective, putting all artists in check. Dope content, current hot by remarkable men. Our thoughts clearly. Welcome to Audio Theory.
Yo, welcome back to the Audio Theory podcast. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as well as the like button. What's good, Danny? How have you been?
I've been great, man. Great to see you. I just got back from Colombia safe and sound. I was a little bit worried, but that's an episode for our first Patreon episode. That's a point in the future. But super excited for our interview this evening. So why don't you go ahead and let the people know who we got.
For sure. Yeah, so today we have a special guest. He goes by the name of Deandre Adonis, hailing from Chicago. What's good, man? Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, both of you. I've seen a couple of these interviews, especially one with Just Adam too. So kind of familiar with it a little bit.
Awesome, man.
Nice,
well,
man.
again, we really appreciate you making time for us. I know you have a bunch of things going on. You just mentioned you came from a studio session, got a trip tomorrow. So, again, thoroughly grateful for you hopping on, giving us some time. Obviously, giving your day ones more insight into who you are as a person. So, kudos again for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome, man. So, we'd like to just have a couple icebreakers, shoot the shit before we do a deep dive into, who you are as a person. So, this is more like an either or thing. It could be yes or no, one word, expand, whatever really is your preference. So, are you more of a phone call kind of guy or a texting kind of guy?
Definitely text message, because I can prepare my answers more on when I'm texting. If you're calling somebody, every response is on the spot. So I like to be prepared for sure with everything, especially conversations. So.
Are you a quick responder though, or it might go a week and not hear back from you?
It kind of depends. Like a lot of the times I can reply right away, but sometimes I'll just chill. I'll take like a few minutes to like reply or something. But I'm a fairly quick responder when it comes to that.
Yeah, I'm definitely a text guy, man. I see my phone ring, I'm like, what are you doing?
Right,
what are you doing?
Right. Yeah, we don't do that anymore. Are you the type of person who would rather save 100 strangers or one loved one if you had to choose between the two?
Definitely 100 strangers, because that's more people that I can reach, and plus like 100 people going off and then telling their story about how they got saved. And then, that's even more people. That's at least double the amount of people if they all tell one person. So that's already like 200 versus one. So.
Got it. That's admirable.
Facts, yeah. Big facts. So this might be the introvert in both of us that we love asking this question, but do you prefer to host a party or attend a party?
Attend a party, 100%.
And the main reason behind that is what?
The stressing of having your vase break or anything break in your house, especially if it's not your house. If you're at like your parents' house or something and you're hosting a party, you don't want nothing to break or no spills, nothing. So I'd much rather have that be on somebody else.
Yo, big facts. I'll be there on time, but I'm not fucking throwing it.
Yeah. Would you rather be able to change the past or see the future?
Change the past only because I wouldn't change anything incredibly drastic, and I don't want to see the future because I feel like life would be a little less exciting if you knew everything that was going to happen or something huge that was coming up. But I'd rather have that just come to me naturally.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So make it a little bit more relevant music-wise. Probably the biggest thing last week in the culture was the Dipset versus the Lox versus. Did you watch it by any chance?
I didn't watch it because I didn't know. I haven't seen a lot of those, but I did definitely see stuff about it.
So imagine if you didn't see it then. Who would you prefer if you were to pick one catalog of either or groups?
I'm not even that familiar with them, with either of them, but I don't know. Even if I was, it'd still be a hard decision because usually when they put two different artists or groups together in a versus, it's always oh, it could go either way for the most part, you know. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I'd be neutral on that one.
I was going. So I'm probably showing my age a bit here, and I'm also from New York, so I was heavily leaning towards Dipset because I just assumed they had more bangers. But once it actually started, like, it wasn't even close. Like, it was just Jadakiss like mopping them.
I saw clips of it for sure.
Yeah, it was like, I was like, whoa, like, so,
Yeah.
like, it wasn't even close, but cool.
Yeah.
All right, one last one. Would you rather be embarrassed or afraid?
Let me see. I feel like being embarrassed is worse. Because being afraid, like, there's so many situations where you're afraid, but you still succeed. But like, when you're embarrassed, that's just like I don't know, that's just a feeling like no matter what you do, it's still kind of like an awkward feeling that you have.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone likes being embarrassed.
Yeah, no matter like anyone.
So we asked somebody else before, do you think you can be embarrassed even though like you're alone in a situation, like you're like in your bedroom by yourself or wherever? Can you be embarrassed but alone?
Yeah, I believe you can. I believe you can be embarrassed for like other people, like the same way you can be like secondhand embarrassment. Like it's like kind of the
you
same
watch like
thing.
A cringeworthy performance or something like that,
Right.
or something someone says. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that because I've had moments where I wake up by myself and I'm like, oof, I fucked up.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, fair enough. All right, man, we appreciate you breaking the ice with us, man, getting a little bit inside of, how your thought process is. But again, we brought you on because we found your music. We thought you were super talented. Honestly, we probably should have had you on sooner. But again, super grateful you made the time for us. So let the people know listening, your fans, our fans, who Deandre Adonis is, and what you're trying to achieve in this music thing.
Right. So basically, I'm 20. I'm turning 23 tomorrow. And I play 4 instruments: bass, guitar, saxophone, piano, and the drums. And I also am an illustrator, digital and pencil, all of that. So it really helps with making like cover arts. Like a lot of my cover arts are made by me. And then I'm also I'm a singer and a rapper, and I write everything for the most part. Like everything that I have, I write. I try to write 100% of it just because I take that seriously. I'm like extra passionate about that because I want my music to be my words. And it's not like anything against, like, I'm definitely open to have people write for me, but that's just like the best way you can get me out of my music. And yeah, I'm just out of Chicago, just trying to be as colorful as I can and connect with as much people as I can. So.
When you say like 100%, like it's like almost 100% you, does that mean like you'll be like in sessions with like friends or your team and like they'll bring up an idea and you'll kind of run with it, so you'll give them like somewhat credit for it? Is that when you mean like it's not 100%?
Well, no, I mean like more lyrically when I write. So like I definitely but like I'm open for input when it comes to like, oh, you should sing something like this, or oh, you should rap something this way. I'm definitely open for that. But when it comes to actually writing down the lyrics, it's always usually like me.
Nice.
And I very rarely ask other people to write for me. It's usually like one person that I know, and he'll write a few songs, but it's mainly me.
That's dope, man. Yeah, the work's great, and I love that you say you do illustration too, because like the artwork on your EP, My World, is fire.
Oh yeah,
like, I love like the way you have like the different vision boards, so to know that was you as well is crazy.
Yeah, thank you.
Is like this artistic journey something that began when you were a child? Because it seems like you're involved in so many different aspects of the art.
Yeah,
I figured
definitely.
it's something you've been doing for a long time.
Yeah, since I was a little kid, I've been drawing. Because I grew up in Chicago, so I really wasn't going outside like that. So when I was inside, I was just like, I might as well pick something up. And then drawing was definitely that. And I don't draw that often, but I still like do it like, for entertainment and just for myself. Like I usually just keep all of them. Like I don't really sell them like that. So it's really more for the joy of it. but I definitely would want to. Like, one of my dreams was to work for Marvel Studios and do like the concept art that they do, which is insane. But yeah, other than that, other than like the movie and film industry, I only really draw for my own enjoyment.
Got it. Did the visual art come before the music and then you transitioned to that, or how did that all pan out?
It kind of all happened at once, because while I was drawing when I was a kid, I was also in church playing the drums, and that was the first thing I learned. So like, as I was drawing, I was also playing instruments, and then when I got to middle school, I started playing saxophone and piano. Then I just recently picked up bass guitar, but yeah, it's always been there, like always at the same time.
That's sick, man. So I mean, not to get obviously like, you know, too in depth. If I answer as much as you want, when you said like living in Chicago, staying outside, like inside, was that a very like direct direction from like your family? Like, yo, we're gonna make sure that you're not involved in anything else that's not like, you know, fundamentally good for your future? Like, if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, they definitely like kept us inside of the little gate that was outside our apartment building, and we really just played in that little area, which was fine because there was a lot of kids the same way, that we were all just playing with each other in there. So yeah, it was, I definitely understand why, and I'm glad it happened. It definitely got me. And then we moved out of there, so that really like helped with everything.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I mean, growing up in, just growing up, period. So obviously the drums came and the instruments came from church. What was like the thing that made you want to actually be a singer and rapper? Like, was there any one moment or any one artist that kind of like inspired that?
When I was really little, I remember it was always artists like Musiq Soulchild, Trey Songz, John Legend, Chris Brown, a lot of artists like that. That was more when I was younger. And then I want to say like middle school, not even like high school actually, was when I started listening to artists like Daniel Caesar, Smino, and Her, and Frank Ocean. So it's always like a new set of artists as like I grow up, which is fun because there's a lot to choose from.
Yeah. And was there anyone on the Chicago scene specifically that was a heavy influence on you?
Chance the Rapper for sure. Because I remember when I first heard his music, I actually didn't like it.
Really?
And my older brother used to play it all the time, and I used to be like, why does he sound like so, like he's always yelling and all of that? And then when I finally like listened to it for myself, I started like falling in love with like, especially with like acid rap, like the aggressiveness of his bars, and then like the intensity of the songs that he makes. And then he's from Chicago, so like I know what he's rapping about, you know? Right. So yeah, connected to me in that way and musically too.
Oh, and are you in Chicago right now? Like, is that where you're based and everything, or no?
I'm based. That's where I record and everything. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Is the Chicago scene itself like as wild as the media portrays it to be?
I mean, the stuff that's accurate is stuff like you talking about, like how like bad it is, basically.
Just like, because I feel like at least my perception of Chicago is drastically different when Kanye and Twista and everything were huge, but now it seems like the drill scene is pushed as like the narrative of what Chicago is so much, to the point where one who doesn't live there might think things have gotten worse, but I'm just curious if there's just a magnifying glass on it as opposed to it being any worse than it used to be.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's been like my whole life been there. It's always the same stories, you know, all the shootings and all of that, all the violence, all of that. Nothing's really increased or decreased that I've seen. I mean, I haven't looked into like specific numbers or anything, but it's always been here and there a bunch of the same stuff, basically. But there is some improvement though. Like artists like Chance, he does a lot of stuff for his community, and then No Name, people like that. So yeah, it's definitely good to see artists giving back.
Nice.
Yeah, because I would agree with Blair. Like, I feel like everything you hear in the past, at least like 6 years, like it's just like Chirac like that constant, like that's all I feel like you see on, especially like on social media, like anything like that Kanye stuff, like people will even forget, like, you know, Kanye's also from Chicago, and like it's a different portrayal completely.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I feel like there's just so many amazing artists. Like most of my favorite artists actually are from Chicago, like Lupe Fiasco, Kanye, and Common. And it's crazy that it's kind of transitioned to, you know, just focusing on, you know, Chief Keef and like the more controversial artists, which make good music. It's just, it doesn't show another side of music that, you know, someone like you, for instance, might be trying to showcase.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely trying to have or bring a different sound out of Chicago. Not to say that like Chicago artists aren't necessarily positive, but I would love to bring like a more positive approach to just show like that it's not. People always ask me, "Oh, is it like the same question you asked me?" Like, is it really that bad over there? And I'm like, I mean, it's bad over there, but there's so many other places that are bad too. Like, it's not. I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely got the magnifying glass on it for sure.
So do you feel like you trying to make this kind of music again? I mean, you're like the third artist that we love because it's so genreless, and we'll get, you know, deeper into that in a second. But like, is this something you saw like there's an opportunity just to be different, or this is just who you are and it happens to be not the norm?
This is definitely just who I am, because I believe in that the most. Being, I mean, the best version of you is you. So I used to, you know, be like the other way where I was trying to sound like this, or, you know, trying to sound like that, or trying to push for a certain sound. And then I eventually just started being like, well, what do I sound like? You know, like what am I gonna sound like rapping to this, or rap or singing to that, or, you know, my own sound.
That's amazing.
And how did you
23 and figure that out now is crazy as well. So
yeah, that's wild. And how did you tap into that space where you were like, okay, this is really me?
Well, it was hearing like my family members, if you ask any of them, like, who does Deandre sound like when he sings? And they've all told me like John Legend. And I've always heard like other people, like I'm just getting compared to other artists a lot. And that kind of like, obviously it's a compliment, but like it kind of bothered me a little, because it was like, well, okay, I sound like him, but I'm trying to sound like me. So it was just more of a realization that I needed to figure out what my sound was like from within, and not try to necessarily sound like these rappers or singers who are insanely famous now to try to catch up to them. Like, I think the ceiling is, there is no ceiling when you're you, for sure.
Yeah, you should save that bar for your next
one.
Write it down.
That's so funny though, yeah, because we were gonna ask you about comparison, so fuck that. But are there any comparison that you actually like, oh wow, I actually kind of am trying to sound like that in a certain kind of way, or not really?
No, it's always people who I'm not trying to sound like. Like the producer I work with today, we were working on a song at our last session, and he was like, there's some parts in this where you sound like Lil Uzi. And I'm like, I don't even listen to Lil Uzi, so I know I'm not trying to sound like him at all. It was like, I mean, I guess, but it's never what I'm going for when people say I sound like someone. It's never what I'm going for.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it before. Like, we got the John Legend thing, but like also like kind of the people you also mentioned earlier who kind of like inspired you. Like, I heard some Frank Ocean in it. I hear some Trey Songz in it. I think I hear a little bit of Gold Link as well. I don't know if you got that comparison before.
I've gotten that too, yes.
Yeah. So again, it's just like everybody kind of has a reference point, but I definitely appreciate the artistry that you try to just be your own person, which is dope.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you gotten any Buddy comparisons by any chance?
No.
Are you familiar with that artist?
I know of, but I don't really. I actually I know a lot of artists, but I always listen to them late. Like it's not because I think they're bad or it's not my vibe or anything. It's just I just don't get to it. Like, I just recently started listening to like a year ago, to like Denzel Curry and like JID and people like that. So yeah, I'm late to everybody. and unless it's like someone that I'm working with that's like up and coming, like I'm definitely gonna put you on with them. But like some of the huge names, like I don't listen to them, all of them, and it's not because I don't think they're good. It's just I just don't get to it.
I mean, Buddy's more niche for sure. I'm from LA. I think he from Compton, if I'm not mistaken. But he has that kind of genreless vibe where like on some tracks he's like rapping, others he's singing, he's doing both, and his beats are like really eclectic and different, kind of like yours. So I got that vibe from a lot of the tracks. But I think Danny and I both agree John Legend was like the one that first came to mind. But it's still like unique in its own right. It's not like he's biting him,
like he's like biting it or something. Yeah, it's definitely like just a reference point, right? Because I mean that's just what we do all the time. Like, talking shit. But question for you then. So like obviously you're not like worried about like the top 10 records on Billboard right now. Like you're just listening to whatever you want to. So like what is like if we were going to your recent played stuff on your iPod, like what are you listening to right now?
Smino for sure. Daniel Caesar, Her for sure. Isaiah Rashad's album has been on repeat every day since it came out. I was literally just listening to it. And then I do listen to a lot of people who aren't like as huge. Like some of the people I work with. Like I listen to Just Adam, like Fully Surfing, people like that. Just Love Hall. Consistently, like I actually listen to them like for real. And then Thundercat a little bit, only because I'm learning bass guitar, so I gotta listen to it. And then JID for sure, Masego, 100%, and Jhené Aiko for sure. But yeah, it's all over the place, but.
But I feel like everything you just mentioned, and also like when I was listening to you, like I feel like your voice, and hopefully I'm thinking this existence for you for like the next 10 years, is gonna be like constantly on selection at some point. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like some of your songs have like just that laid back lounge, hip hop, R&B, just like feel good music.
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite kind of music to make because it feels good. It's relaxing.
Yeah. There's always a mood for it, right? There's never like I'm in a sad mood, so let me not play that. It's like no, let me play that. Or I'm in a good mood, let me play that anyway. So like
right.
I can see you being on selection like in the future, which is obviously a compliment.
Thank you.
And speaking of that, the first time I heard you was on the song March with Just Adam. So how did you two link up for that track? And have you guys made music previously prior to that?
We haven't made anything previously, but I remember how that happened, the song. So I know Evan, the producer of the beat, and I've always wanted a song with Just Love Hall, but I didn't even know he was on it when like Just Adam hit me up. So I was just chilling at home, and then he sends me the beat and he's like, I want you on this, like on a verse or a hook or whatever. And then I just wrote to it and sent it back to him and then recorded it actually and then sent that back. And that was basically it. And then I didn't even know Just Love Hall was on it until it came out. I was like, oh snap, I finally got a song with Just Love Hall.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's dope how the universe works out in that way.
Right.
So do you have your own team right now? Or you your team do you guys like share producers and engineers? Like how does that all work in your current setup?
I'm definitely my team right now, other than the producers that I recorded right now. Which is just one guy. Mm-hmm. But other than that, when it comes to like trying to market my stuff, that's me. The artwork is me. The production, I try to make it me as much as I can, just because I can play the keys and the drums and stuff like that. So I try to make everything like from me as much as possible, because I'm just trying to push the, independent artist. So yeah, don't really have that much of a team right now, but would be nice.
Yeah, give it time.
Yeah.
But it's a question for you then. So like, obviously you being 23 or about to be 23, and you have like, again, the catalog on Apple Music and Spotify is, still a good amount for any young artist. So
yeah,
is this like a full-time gig for you right now? Or you have like a side thing right now? Like how does like this work into your life?
Well, before it was definitely like when I first started, it was definitely a side thing. I was going to school. I went to Columbia College, Chicago. It's an art school, and yeah, music was definitely, it was always there, but it was definitely like a side thing. But now it's recent. It's for sure what I'm focusing on now. Like that and art, it's definitely the main focus now, as of like a few months ago, to be honest. But I'm glad to finally be in. It's been really good. I've been like improving on basically everything because I've just been working on my craft the whole time. Like the whole time as I'm recording this album and writing new stuff for the album and then working on new instruments and stuff like that. And then I'll finally trying to get into producing beats like on my own time rather than being next to an engineer and be like, drag this here, click this here. So I can finally have my own, you know, where I do it on my own laptop and have my own mic and everything. So I'm definitely getting help with that. But yeah, it's all been a lot of fun.
So what made you pull that trigger though to make it at the full-time, you know, focus?
This album, to be honest with you, because it's the most me music I've ever made, for sure. And then like the merch coming with it is something honestly no one's ever done, especially the way that I did it. And I'm very excited about that. I actually finished it like months ago, but like it's just sitting there just waiting. But definitely it's the most complete group of work that I've ever made or worked on so far.
Nice, man.
Nice. Well, I'm an extra large, and Blair's a medium large, so let's get our address for later.
Well, it's actually, the merch actually it's not closed. So what I did, I mean, I'm gonna announce it soon anyways, but it's actually wrote, illustrated, and created a comic book to go with my album. And then the cover of the cover of the comic is the album cover. So it'll literally go with what I'm writing, what I'm rapping, all of that. So it's gonna be like I said, it's the most complete thing I've ever worked on.
Wow, man.
That's super dope.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's the benefit of having multiple talents is that you get to do that cool shit. And I think a lot of artists, at least a lot of the up and coming ones I see, you know, they don't necessarily play an instrument or, you know, do any sort of visual art or anything, but it sounds like you have a lot of different skill sets you can tap into that other artists might not have the time or resources to even tap into.
Yeah.
And speaking of all that, like, what does your general roadmap look like in terms of like milestones that you're trying to hit and reach? Do you have a specific plan for the next several years, or are you kind of playing it by ear and just going with the flow?
I used to have like set goals, and I mean, I still do, but I used to be more into it. But I've started to just pick and choose like tiny ones, because I found that when I would try to like, okay, by October, I'm gonna do this, it would always like I definitely get lazy. And then I definitely find things would come to life earlier than I expected. So planning it out like that really doesn't work for me personally, but certain goals that I have is like a colors performance for sure. Lollapalooza, because it's in Chicago. Yeah. I want to have my own festival full of like almost like a pride thing, like the LGBTQ community, and then maybe even make it like all the proceeds go to wherever, just something like that. But that's just the minor stuff right now. I mean, I used to have like, I want to win like 5 Grammys and stuff like that, but like, you never really know when any of that's gonna come. So I just chill on all that, focus on the craft before anything else.
For sure.
And like, I mean, again, the comic book stuff, all the instruments you're trying to learn as well, the writing, the performing. Is there any one thing that you have so many hats that you generally just love doing the most though?
Even though I've only done it like 3 times, performing. Because something about like the group crowd of people, like just enjoying the stuff, like you're expressing yourself on stage and people in the crowd are enjoying that. Like that's not something that people get all the time, where they get positive reactions of them expressing themselves. But to know that there's a pool of people, like eventually that there'll be like a pool of people who are all rapping your lyrics with you and singing your lyrics with you, and sometimes you don't even got to sing nothing and they're singing it for you.
Yeah.
That's a feeling that I'm really trying to get. Like if there's any goals that I have, it's definitely to start performing for sure, because I've only done it like 3 times, and it's definitely a feeling I want a lot more.
Nice.
So.
Was that like right before COVID? And that's when the break happened, or?
Well, there was one in Kansas that was like a few months ago, and that was like the 3rd performance. And then the first 2 were literally months before. It was actually one of them was February of 2020,
yeah.
So literally right before. So yeah, it's definitely a goal of mine.
It seems like, just like to mention earlier, like you were saying that you like being indoors a lot and just focusing on different things growing up. Did quarantine kind of bring that back out of you last year, or was it kind of like the opposite effect?
100% brought it back out, because we're just all sitting in our room with nothing to do, like at all. So it literally made me resort to art, and I made 4 paintings in like 2 weeks, because it was literally just like, well, there's nothing else to do. There's literally nothing else to do. So I just painted my walls. They're on my Instagram, but yeah, some of the paintings I just started painting, and then that's actually when I wrote this album and the comic book and all of that. So
nice.
Definitely it opened something up.
Yeah, it worked out. Like you got to make the most of it, right? And then I don't know if you guys, we haven't mentioned that previously with you now, but like Blair is also an artist, and he just got back into the game. I think quarantine kind of helped you realize, Blair, like that was kind of you got to kind of just do it now. When, if not now, then when, right?
Yeah. And also I'm a little bit older than you by 8 years. So I think the unfortunate thing with me was I had like a 9 to 5, and I just got in the mindset of like, oh, I'm too old to do this. Like it'd be corny for me to be a rapper and stuff like that. And then when quarantine came around and people started baking sourdough and doing all kinds of random shit, I was like, music's cool compared to this. Like, why can't I do it again? Exactly. And then I started, I think I was like self-conscious about it, even though like, you know, my family and friends love my music. I was like, you know, what if people don't like it? Am I too old for this? What if I don't like it? And I was like too much a perfectionist. And then during quarantine, I was like, forget all that. Let me just like be in my zone. And I feel like quarantine was a good time for a lot of artists in general, artistically, because like you're just trapped with your thoughts in your room or whatever. So I can imagine for you that was like a really productive like setting to be in.
Yeah, it definitely. And I actually had a goal to get better at piano, like way better at piano than what I am now. And that before quarantine was not nearly as good as now, thanks to quarantine. So it really gave me time to just sit and practice on everything, honestly.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Glad you made the most of it. So you're turning 23 tomorrow, right? So happy early birthday. So you're gonna go see her. Is the trip to LA just the concert? Do you have like anything like studio sessions planned out there, trying to collab with anyone while you're out there?
No, I don't. It's really just, I'm there for a week, so it's just the concert's the main thing, and then just like a vacation basically, because I've never been to California, so.
Nice.
Yeah, Blair's based out of San Fran now, but he used to be from LA.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a cool place. I will say the transplants give it a bad rap. So the people that move to LA and then want to live the Hollywood lifestyle and stuff, those people kind of can mess things up here and there. But in general, I think the city is really nice. Obviously, the weather is incredible compared to pretty much anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good food too. So make sure you try that out. I wouldn't spend too much time in Hollywood. It's pretty grimy actually. And it's probably even worse because of quarantine, to be honest.
I bet.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you're still able to go, because I know like LA was talking about shutting shit down. So thankfully the concerts still fucking happening.
Yeah, I know. It's this week, so like if anything happens, I already beat it.
Yeah, right. So I asked about the if you had anything lined up when you're out there. Like, do you have any like dream collabs that you're thinking about? Like, man, like, you know, in a year or two, if I'm like this big, I would love to reach out to this artist, and it's like a no-brainer for both of us, you know?
Yes. Her, easy. Smino, easy. Masego, because we both play saxophone, so that would be so fun. Tyler, the Creator, because I want to perform with him. His performances are insane, and I'd love to add any kind of idea to that, because I know if anyone can make something come to life on stage, it's him. And then, I mean, anybody else that are like, you know, huge, like of course everyone would love the Future, but those are like the main ones that would blow my mind if I had any collab with them.
Fingers crossed they see this and it happens in a couple of years. So.
Yeah.
Man, that's a super talented and diverse group of people.
Yeah, especially Smino, man. That's my favorite rapper right now.
I gotta listen to him more. I think, didn't Just Adam recommend him to us too, Danny?
What was that?
Didn't he recommend Smino to us too?
Yeah, Just Adam told us Smino.
Yeah.
I think like two more that you mentioned. He also mentioned. So yeah, it seems like the eclectic artists in Chicago kind of like love the same 3 or 4 guys, which is, you know, phenomenal.
Yeah, for sure.
Just curious, do you listen to your own music? Like when it's complete, are you kind of like, all right, I'm done with this for the fans, like let me move on? Or do you like sit in your room and bump it, like nod your head to your own shit?
See, I know people are always like, they say it's weird to listen to your own music, but the reason I do listen to my own music is to improve. Like it's not to, I mean, obviously you gotta hype yourself up sometimes, but like that's not the main focus really. When I'm listening to my own music, I'm listening for mistakes. I'm listening for what I could have did better on a certain verse, or how I could have been more punctual on the hook or something like that. So it's basically just me going over, yeah, it's literally homework. It's like me going over my finished product, and then, because I always try to make the next song better than the last, even though that's not always the case. That's still what I aim for, just so it's consistent as possible.
Got it. I think it's a smart tactic.
Do you consider yourself like a studio rapper? Like when you're in there for hours and you're pumping out like, you know, 4 or 5 songs, or is it more like a perfection thing, like quality over quantity at this point in your career?
Both. So like I'll have the long session, quality over quantity. Like I love being in there for hours. Like I've only been there like at Classic so far for like 4 hours at a time, but like I'm definitely gonna get like the 6-hour sessions in or something like that. But I definitely love and prefer the long sessions, and I'm like a perfectionist when it comes to my own stuff too. So definitely quality over quantity as well.
Awesome. Is there any like so obviously you dissected all your work more than anybody else on this episode at least. So is there any like one body of work, either the EPs or a song that you're like, wow, man, that shit really turned out exactly how I thought about it, you know, and I walked into the studio?
Yeah, actually, for some of the stuff we worked on today, for sure came out. A lot of the times it comes out better than what I envisioned.
Nice.
But in terms of stuff that's out already, definitely there's a song I have, it came out a long time ago. It's called Culture. I made the cover art for that too. And it's more of like a club, like upbeat type song. And then it literally sounds like I produced the beat and everything. I made the beat. And it literally all sounds like exactly what was going on in my head. And this is like one of my older songs too. So it was very like satisfying to know that I can make my visions come to life.
For sure. That's sick, dude.
What's your like general creative process like? Like, do you sit and listen to the beat for several hours and then come up with the concept, or you have the concept and then you want the sound to match that? Like, how do you go about it generally?
Well, I've actually recently found that when I write without music, that I can come up with better stuff. But I usually, like, I'll just have the MP3 playing, like I'll get a beat or something, and I'll have the MP3 playing, and then I'll like execute it like as best as I can, like while I'm practicing. So like it gets better over time. And then the writing always comes to me. Like I've never had like writer's block. Like that's because I don't like I never force anything, like no matter what it is. Or like if I have a session on Thursday, I might not write the song that I have for it until Wednesday night or something like that. Like it can be that late, but like to know that like I know that it'll always come to me at some point in time is very nice, because I can really sit with stuff and not rush anything and listen back a lot and like dissect everything and make sure it all sounds right. But sometimes I just chill and just like try to like, sometimes I'll actually say, oh, okay, I'll try to write something that Daniel Caesar would sing, you know, or like write something that Smino would rap, something like that, like certain exercises like that, just to get my writing better. But yeah, I usually just let it come to me.
Nice. So in that, just to elaborate on that, it's almost as if like you're still keeping everything you, but you're envisioning how they would approach getting that out, that message out. Got it.
Yeah, because there's definitely stuff that there's just certain things that certain artists do better than everyone, basically. Like every artist has that different thing that they're so good at. Like Smino's wordplay is definitely insane. And then like Jhené Aiko's falsetto, insane. Frank Ocean's ability to just like flow on anything. Anything. It's insane. So like basically when I'm writing music, I'm rapping it, of course, but like, or singing it, but it's just like, if Jhené Aiko were to come in here and sing this, how would she execute it? Because the way she would execute a certain line in falsetto is like what I'm looking for and what I'm hearing. So like, I definitely try to like see what other artists would do while still being original in myself, for sure.
Right. Nice.
That's dope inspiration. I mean, you mentioned great artists like right now that you use for inspiration at times. I mean, everyone has kind of a moment where they're like, yo, I can properly do this shit. I mean, you're still super young, but you put out quality content at an early age. When was the moment that you were like, yo, I can really do this. This might be what my future is?
It was, I want to say 2017 or 2018, whenever Daniel Caesar's album came out, Fruity. So this was like the summer where I recorded my first song ever with one of my friends. And this album dropped like a few weeks after. And I just sat in my room, lights off, everything, and just listened to it. And that project was the project that made me say like, this is the kind of feel-good music that I want to make. And the impact that it's having on me right now is the impact that I want to have with people when they listen to me. Because, I mean, it's not just him, like you can listen to like Frank Ocean and then be inspired to create, like, or anybody can be inspired to create. So it definitely kicked that off. So that's my first EP was like R&B for sure. My next project will definitely be R&B, but that's definitely what kicked it off.
Amazing. And has there been a moment like along this journey since that moment to now that you've like gotten feedback from either fans or other artists that like made you like, yeah, like I made the right choice by doing this?
Oh yeah, especially like my close friends, people who I live by, they've definitely been showing the love for it since I started. And then the producers that I've met, they've all been amazing people. I haven't even met just Adam, and he's been definitely amazing. And yeah, I've just definitely appreciated the love that comes from what I make, because then it just makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing.
Awesome.
Nice. And do you generally go to them for feedback before you release anything, or while you're in the midst of creating something, or you leave that all to yourself and your own like intuition of what sounds good or not?
I'll rarely send like my group chat of friends a snippet. Rarely. But other than that, it's always just me. No one else hears it until it's out, basically. So
Nice.
yeah.
I'm guessing you don't want them
I heard
to
100 degrees because
Yeah, no.
that song was fire.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I appreciate you sending that to us.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably gonna be the first, probably the only single I drop that's off the album before the album. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, that one was caption worthy for Instagram, because like some of those one-liners were slick. I even sent Blair one last time. I'm like, yo, let's go. Like, this is it right now.
That's the one where my one of my producers I'm working with right now said I sound like Lil Uzi.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah, that
Okay.
I'll have
That's
to
the-
listen back and try to find those little moments where you do.
yeah, like the yeah and stuff like that. Like, and it's because I don't even listen to him like that. So that's how I knew it's just like. But yeah,
The funny thing is, like, an artist like that will hear the song and be like, yo, he's trying to bite me or whatever. And you're like, I don't even know who you are.
I don't even know who you are. I've never seen you.
Hey, like I know who he is. It's just I just don't listen
Yeah.
to him like that, and it ain't nothing against him at all. It's the same as everybody else, just late.
I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, there's no such thing as like complete originality as human beings, because I mean, we've been making music for thousands of years or whatever. So I think it's definitely, you can be mostly unique, but at the same time, it's, I think, to have something completely original and unique is like almost impossible in this day and age, which is not an issue at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely pull, like, I hear stuff and I'm like, oh, okay, they sang that like that. Okay, and I'll just work on myself. But
yeah, but it's clear that like even like it sounds like you though. Like even to our points earlier, like yeah, we hear the John Legend, we hear like that gets a reference point, like John Legend type music, but it's definitely like Deandre. Like it's not like Deandre trying to sound like this famous person.
And there's so many different elements that go into it too, like the beat selection, the lyrics, the hook and stuff. So it's not just a vocal thing. Like for instance, Action Bronson sounds like identical to Ghostface Killah, but he can't really control how his voice sounds. But his content and everything is like completely different from Ghostface Killah. So I mean, he's doing fine.
He's doing very well.
yeah.
Well.
So obviously, what you mentioned the upcoming stuff, you know. So before we get into that, though, are there any because we want to give you our top songs from your catalog. Are there any like top 2 or top 3 or top 1 that you're like, yo, this was the one song or the 3 songs that I just love the most?
The stuff that I'm working on right now that's not out, actually.
Okay.
Definitely, because it's like I said, it's so me. It's like more me than it's ever been. So I'm definitely making my favorite music right now. But if I had to pick one that's out, Pearl, for sure.
Pearl's dope. Pearl. That's my favorite one.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
So question, so in Pearl, what is that, like in the hook, what does that mean?
Go ahead, roll me a blunt.
Oh, all right.
Pearl, can you pearl? Can you pearl a blunt?
I'm thinking an actual pearl. Like that's like.
yeah.
Well, I mean, the cover art is a pearl, right?
Yeah, the cover art is a pearl, but yeah, it's about real.
I love it. All right, because I'm like, is he opening something up? Like that's what I was like.
Oh, okay. Never heard it like that, to be honest.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Pearl was a good one. Yeah, Pearl I loved. I love the couple. The one you sent us last week was fire though. At 100 Degrees, right? That's the name of the track.
Yep.
Oh so. yeah. I said that.
Yeah, love that one. And then the one I sent my other boy was Worst Ways. Was a banger to me. Like,
oh yeah. So the guy who's rapping on that with me, he's actually one of the first people I've ever recorded with. He actually helped me record most of my stuff that's out now, if not all of it, to be honest. But definitely most of it for sure was thanks to him. So shout out to him. But yeah, that was actually he produced that too. So
oh yeah? Yeah, I sent that to one of my boys. He's like, yo, where do you keep finding these motherfuckers? Like, I was like, so yeah, that one was dope. What are your some songs that stick out to you?
Definitely Pearl. I added it to my playlist immediately. I don't know, it's just such a vibe. Like there's not much more to say other than it's such a vibe. I think it was executed flawlessly. Sounds like you like it a lot as well compared to your entire catalog. So that one was fire. Really like 100 Degrees as well. So looking forward to the next project. Do you have a name for it, by the way? The project?
Yeah, it's called Flawed Superhero.
Flawed Superhero. Dope.
Yeah, nice.
I'm assuming you have a dope cover art for that already.
Oh yeah, I got actually physical copies of this comic book.
Oh shit, nice.
So this is what I made. It's like digital art, but this is the comic book.
Oh
right
damn, that's legit.
Damn, bro, that is wild.
That's super dope.
Thank you.
That's hard.
Thank you. And then there's still a track list on the back. But
Oh my.
yeah, and then it's got like real pages in there and everything.
Is
So-
each
Yeah,
page
went all
like
out.
a track or like an idea behind the track or?
No, it's its own story, and
Okay.
I'm working on like issue number 2 currently, like in my head a little bit. But yeah, this is just there's some pages in here that it'll literally tell you to play a certain track. But
Wow.
yeah, I tried to make it its own thing as well as flow with the album too at the same time. So yeah.
I mean, this might be I don't know how this would work, but it'd be dope if you had like, if there was a page that was for a specific track, like you had like a QR code or something, that you could like put your phone
Yeah,
to
yeah.
and have it, like play.
I was thinking about adding a QR code too. I honestly can figure out how to do it. But I mean, it's still early anyways. That's why I'm
Yeah.
glad that I have it made now so I can
For sure.
add anything on it last
Nice.
minute.
Nice. So how many limited edition comic books are being shipped out? Like what's your number in mind? Like, hey, we're gonna have this 10 only and only 10 super fans get this, or
I'm thinking about having like maybe like 30 to 40 copies. At least to start out with, because I mean I don't know how people are gonna take it or if people are gonna get it, you know, so I'm not gonna start out too crazy.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got 1 million copies and like 1,000 hit me up. It's like,
Right.
But still 1,000 would be sick. So
Super
before we get
creative
into like
concept, though.
plugs and stuff, man, like we never asked you like an obvious question. So like, what's your favorite superhero?
Spider-Man, easily.
How come?
The fact that he's, especially when like he first gets his powers, he's 15 years old and he's fighting with the Avengers and stuff. Like he's a kid, he's like a junior in high school fighting like Thanos and stuff like that, you know. And it's and then the costume, perfect costume. My favorite color is red, so it's mostly red. I love it. And like my whole, since I was little, like I've had all Spider-Man like bed sheets and curtains, pillowcases, stickers on the wall, all of that. So definitely Spider-Man.
Out of the movies though, do you fuck with the movies or just like the comic book stuff?
Oh, the movies too. I'm all in with the Disney Plus shows too, and all the movies, everything.
So I can remember the one I remember the most was like in 2000, maybe the Tobey Maguire one, and then there was like another one. Then there was the most recent one in the Avengers. So which out of those 3 was your favorite Spider-Man actor?
My favorite actor is the most recent, the Tom Holland one. But I mean, I grew up with all 3. Like I grew up with it. I remember watching the Tobey Maguire ones like it was yesterday. Like, and for how good those movies were for the time that they came out is still crazy to this day.
Yeah.
And then the Andrew Garfield ones, which were the next ones. Those are the ones
were
that,
my favorite. Like he was my favorite because he had like a swag to him that was like dope.
Yeah, and then the way he swung around the city was the best to me so far. And a lot of people, it's just like the movies as a whole weren't the best, but him individually was great. So yeah, I loved all of them, to be honest.
For me, I think Tom Holland seems the most like natural, because Spider-Man's kind of, or Peter Parker is kind of like a goofy, like awkward
Joking
kid or
all
whatever.
the time, yeah.
Yeah, joking all the time. And I feel like Tom Holland is that. Like, he doesn't take shit seriously at all, but he's still like whooping everybody's asses.
That's literally who that character is too. And
yeah,
he's definitely the most comic accurate for sure.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you mess with the Uverse? Was it the Spider-Man in the universe or the one that? Like,
Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah, that one.
Man, I got the tattoo.
Break out the tattoo. Let's go.
Damn.
I got the tattoo of the logo of that movie.
Yeah,
that's my favorite one. That's my favorite one out of all of them.
Yeah,
That's
same.
number one spot.
So yeah, was that accurate though? Like the way they had like the different, or was that like its own little tangent of the?
Oh, that's accurate. That's actually just like a fraction of the different kinds of spider people there are. It's insane. So they just took a piece, but it's definitely.
And visually, that movie was nuts though. Like the way they,
a moving comic book.
Yeah, that was sick. All right, cool. Now it makes sense why you're obsessed with comics, because like that's a good inspiration to have as a. Awesome, man. So hopefully we can get our copies on one in the future. We'll pay for it if we have to.
Oh, yeah.
But when I ask you, man, obviously, like, as we wrap up, like, let the people know exactly, you know, if you have a drop date for the album, you know, the name again, let us know where we can, you know, find you, all that stuff.
I don't have an exact date yet, but I'm definitely looking at this year for sure.
Okay.
Maybe around October. But if not October, but definitely this year is what I'm hoping for. And then you can follow me on Instagram at Deandre _Adonis, and then on Twitter at _Adonis_15. And yeah.
What's your favorite platform out of all these platforms? I feel like for artists, it's like there's so many things to dabble in, but like, you know, it's also hard to keep up. Like, what's one that you actually enjoy using the most?
Twitter is definitely the funniest one. Instagram is what I use definitely to look at artwork for sure. And yeah, Twitter's definitely the funnier one though, for sure.
Which of those two has helped you like promote the music the most though?
Instagram. I got more followers on there. They don't love me as much on Twitter as they do on Instagram. But yeah, definitely Instagram has helped.
Yeah, I feel like Twitter people prefer like the bullshit, like those random sound bites that go viral.
Yeah.
Just random thoughts and stuff, whereas Instagram you can like snippet your music and, you know, post a cool photo of you overlooking the ocean or something. I don't know.
Right.
And Deandre, one last thing that we love to ask all our guests right before they leave, because again, we try to keep this up and coming artists, just like obviously, you know, inspire others that are maybe like doubting themselves, like, hey, I don't really want to do this, or I'm too old, et cetera, et cetera. So what is something you would tell a young listener, or older listener that's just like, yeah, you know, to keep going with their journey?
Basically, usually when people think like that, they're always worrying about how others see them or how others will react to things that they do. But like I said before, like the best version of you is you. If you're yourself and you branch off to that and excel with that and push with that, it'll never matter what other people think, because if you're being true to yourself, loving yourself, keep going in whatever you're doing, you will love the journey for sure. Like my journey's like 3-4 years only, and I've loved all of it, every step of it. Even though I'm not like the most famous person or anything like that, it's definitely been the most fun. So never stop, because I almost did a handful of times.
Oh yeah, so what helped you get over that wall?
Well, one thing would be listening to my own music to, you know, be like, pick myself back up, like, see, this is what you can make, you know, something like that, self-motivation. And then I mean, I watch performances, like live performances sometimes, and just see like where I could be one day, or how far these people go, and these are the people who don't stop. Like, and it's a lot of the people that you don't see on the big screen and stuff like that that are killing it, and it's because they didn't stop. So the only thing stopping yourself is you.
Great
Another
advice.
Bar, another bar.
Just comes to me.
All right, Blair, I got nothing else, man. Let the people know where they can catch us when this is dropping. Let's get out of here.
Sure. Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, please check out Deandre's music. We'll have links to all of that in the description box. But you can find this episode on audio-theory.com. We'll be on all major streaming platforms. And we also have a Spotify as well as Apple Music playlist. So you can find Deandre's music on there as well. But thanks again for tuning in. We have episodes every week. But obviously, we'd like to keep in touch. So when you have new projects and things like that, we can, continue to talk about it and promote it and, help you achieve your dreams.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely send it all your way the moment I drop the cover art and all of that.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, I would love to post that.
Thank you.
For sure. All right, Deandre, stay on for a second. But Blair, love you, my brother. I'll talk to you soon. Deandre, a pleasure. And we're out.
Love you too. Peace.
Peace.